This week on the Linux Action Show, Nvidia drops support for their open source driver. Does this change everything? Nokia wants input on their next phone. Do we have what it takes to make the next iPhone killer? We discuss. Then we give you our action review of Boxee, the coolest media center software that you don't use. Plus so much more. Oh, this week on the Linux Action Show. And welcome to Season 11, Episode 5 of the Linux Action Show. My name is Brian. With me is Chris.
Hey, Brian. IBM and Canonical will soon be shipping a netbook that runs Linux in Africa.
Just Africa?
Well, initially. So IBM and Canonical, also Simtronics.
Oh, bring that picture up. It looks like a Triple E.
It does look a lot like a Triple E, yeah. They plan to put this guy out for 190 US bones in Africa.
Oh, nice.
Shipping with Ubuntu. It's a partnership with IBM. They're going to be shipping it with like that netbook remix kind of UI. But this one, I guess I haven't maybe used the netbook remix in quite a while. I don't remember it looking exactly like
They've
this.
made a lot of improvements to the way netbook remix looks and feels over the last year.
I'm not sure if I think this is better, though. I'm just saying, Brian.
You know, I've actually stopped using the netbook remix just because I don't see a point to it. I just use standard desktop Ubuntu on a netbook.
Look at these specs, all right? So it is a 10.1-inch netbook, 10.1-inch screen.
That's a pretty good screen.
It's got an Atom N270 CPU. So
it's the standard that runs across all
netbooks. It's around
netbooks,
a gigahertz, yep. A gig of RAM and an SD card and 160 gigabyte hard drive. So in my view, you almost don't even need this kind of ratcheted down UI.
These are basically the same specs as like the HP Mini 1000 and you
got a 1024 by 600 resolution. So
it's the same. It's just
you don't really need a pared down UI. Now the standard UI still doesn't fit perfect though.
But this is less than $200, so that's a really good deal on that.
That's a crazy great deal. 190.
190.
That's smoking good.
Buy 5 of them.
You know, I've got an amazing effing pick for Android.
Well, we can't talk about it yet.
No, I know.
Because this is the point in the show that we talk about the GoDaddy.
We got to say holla to our boys.
Because, and I quote, this episode of the Linux Action Show is sponsored by GoDaddy with the .com on the end. The world's largest web host and domain name registrar. If you're ready to make an impact online, GoDaddy.com has got you covered.
Right, sir.
Domain names as low as $1.99.
That's cheap, dude.
Plus world-class hosting, unlimited disk space, crazy amounts of bandwidth. I don't even know how much bandwidth. Do-it-yourself website builders, dedicated servers, SSL certificates. How many times are you sitting around saying, I've only got $1.99, I need a domain, and that better get an SSL certificate? How many times have you been saying that?
Like 3 times a day.
3 times a day. That's $6. That's the only thing and so much more.
You, dude.
Plus, as a Linux Action Show viewer or listener or reader, if like this is transcribed by some like crazy guy in New England, because I think all the crazy guys that transcribe things live in New England.
Well, that's where the language is proper.
That's where the New England.
Yeah.
New England, like, let's say Maine. He's in Maine. He's sitting around eating a lobster. It's covered in garlic butter, though, and that's freaking delicious. What are we talking about?
GoDaddy.
Right. Enter code LINUX, LINUX at checkout. Save an additional 10% off the entire freaking order. Some restrictions may or may not apply. See the website. That's GoDaddy.com for details. Get your piece of internet now at the URL that I've previously mentioned. I'm not going to tell you again.
And, you know, we should say, too, that Prime Falcon in our chat room mentions that GoDaddy is one of the few hosting providers that has shared hosting with SSH login. Most places, if you do shared hosting,
you just get a little FTP. Boom. That's all you get.
No shell for you.
That's all you get.
No shell for you.
No shell. You don't get.
All right.
You want SCP into there? Out of luck, suckers.
And of course you do, because you're a Linux Action Show viewer and you're smart.
Get with it.
All right, so I've got to talk about an Android pick. Now, everybody that's been watching the show this season knows I'm starting out the first segment of each episode picking something awesome for Android because I'm recently a Droid convert.
You sure are.
And I've had like this. I've had like this back and forth with the Droid where like, oh my God, I hate it. Oh my God, it's awesome. Oh my God, this phone's crap.
It's running slow, is what you're saying.
It bounces. I bounce around.
Is it still running slow?
I'm a flip-flopper. Well, so
You've got it overclocked, right?
I'm running at 800 megahertz right now, and it's been running a lot better.
Nice. How's the battery life been with it clocked up that high?
I haven't really noticed much difference, but the battery life's already poor. Like I've got charger in both vehicles. I've got a desk charger.
But this isn't the Nexus 1 though, so...
Right.
So all right.
What are you saying then?
I'm just saying the Nexus 1 could be pimp.
Oh yeah,
I'm still sitting on the fence.
But you know what?
I want to try Nexus 1.
I am so in love with my Droid right now. It's ridiculous. I'm back in the love camp, and it's because of this week's pick.
By the way, the fact that you're overclocking your phone, super nerdy. Like huge amounts of geek
that
cred,
is
dude.
Geek, isn't it?
Like
I haven't thought of that.
It makes me think so much higher of you. like
I hadn't really gone through the process.
You could say anything stupid. You could be like, have you tried rebooting your RAMs? You could say something really retarded, and I would forgive you because you overclock your phone.
So I have been using this program now. It is a pay program. I want to say it was like $4, and it's called Locale.
$4 is like free.
And what Locale does is it does run in the background, but it's
only $4 more expensive.
It's a single process that runs in the background, and it can monitor.
So it definitely helps your battery life.
You know, actually, it only takes about 6% of my battery. Because Android will actually break down what is using your battery,
nice.
and so Locale only uses about the actual operating system. Android itself uses more power than this app does.
Well, still 6%. That's not insignificant.
It's not
that's close to 10%. If you're at 10%,
Absolutely.
if you had like a 10-hour battery life, that's like chopping off an hour.
Check out what it's doing. I mean, it is totally worth it.
Lay it on me.
So it monitors conditions, and conditions can be anything from location to orientation of the phone.
Lots of fresh powder on the slopes.
So so if you're looking at, say, when I'm in this GPS area, add that as a condition. And then this program will execute commands based on the condition. So and also, and it's not just GPS. It's also your power. It's anything like that. And then you can have all of these plugins that say, okay, when this condition is entered,
do this.
Nice. And so, like for me, I have like I don't know. I probably have 5, 10, 15 different conditions. One for each client, one for my house, and things like that. So when I walk on site now to a client, I have all of my Remember the Milk tasks that are flagged for that client. Well, since Locale knows I'm there now, it automatically brings up all my reminders for things I need to do while I'm on site at the client. It enters a time entry so I know how long I was on site, and it auto-mutes my phone. So my ringtone sets to vibrate mode.
That's kind of cool.
Another always-on Locale condition I have, because these are all plugins, right?
Yeah.
Another always, and most of the plugins are free, you just get them in the marketplace. The other condition I have is if my phone's ringing and I pick it up, and then I put it face down, it auto-mutes the phone. So I just look at it and put it face down, phone mutes.
So that's awesome.
I know, right?
That's actually really cool.
I know. And so right now, here's an example of what I'm using Locale for. I have when I'm at home, and if I'm charging, and it's 1 a.m., shut off the cellular service, make sure Wi-Fi is turned on, download all my news feeds, download all my podcasts.
No.
And then at 3 a.m., it re-enables the cellular, turns off the Wi-Fi, so that way I'm doing all my data transfer on Wi-Fi. And I found that the Droid runs better if I cycle the cellular
service
antennas anyways.
Today, yeah.
Yeah. So I get more...
That's brilliant.
I know, right?
I love it.
And so now a recent Locale plugin has come out for Google Voice. Big Google Voice user over here.
Yeah.
And
so what's it do?
Based on my location, I can have different Google Voice phones ring. So when I'm home, my home phone rings. When I leave the house, Google Voice no longer sends calls to my home phone. And this is all stuff you said it once, and then you never go back. So I sat down one night for about 15 minutes, and I set up all these things. And you can do location-based stuff, either based on address, or if you're at that physical location, you say where I'm at right now.
How detailed can you get the GPS? Like if I was, let's say...
About as accurate as GPS can get, so about 30, 40 feet.
See, that's a problem for me. I would love it if I could get super accurate so I could set things to happen when I'm like on the toilet.
Yes. Well, one of them is...
Here's the thing, is I don't know exactly what it is I'd want it to do when I'm on the toilet, but I know there's something.
Maybe you're really green, and so one of my conditions is...
Dude, when I'm on the toilet, it's not green.
What am
I don't know. I don't know what your conditions are.
What you need to do is just put a really low-powered Wi-Fi access point in your bathroom. Because, like, for me, my access point reached to the end of my driveway.
Yeah.
So when I pull up, it says, condition is now I'm at home because I detected the home Wi-Fi access point. Get this, S. Once it connects to my Wi-Fi network, sends a wake on LAN packet to my desktop.
Really?
Wakes it up from sleep. So by the time I'm home, my machine's all up and going. Isn't that cool?
That's ridiculous.
I know. Android
It's completely
is way
ridiculous.
more awesome with this Locale plugin. You can search Locale in the
I got it,
marketplace.
dude. Is there like a Twitter plugin or anything like that
absolutely,
for it?
absolutely.
Because that would be great is if I could get to the toilet and it automatically twittered that
totally
where I
could.
was. He's like,
There's a Ping FM, so if you just want to broadcast it to all of the social networks, don't limit yourself to Twitter.
oh, fantastic.
Identico wants to know if you're pooping, dude.
That's it. I need an Android phone. This is the stuff I need to have.
It's really neat.
This is the power of Linux.
So that's how every morning when I walk out of the house, I've already got all my news feeds. So if I need to kill time, all of my stuff is cached. All my podcasts are on there. It's really pretty sweet. You got to check out Locale. It's like $4 or $5, maybe tops. Maybe, I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Again, that's free.
This guy should be charging $35 for how awesome this thing. Maybe it was more expensive. I don't know. It's got to be one of the best apps I've ever bought for any device.
Don't charge $35. That's too much money because that's too much money.
Chris declares too much money.
$4. That's great.
$4
Everyone
is
buy
great.
it in the world of $4.
And some of the plugins are
And it's called Locale.
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 Some of the plugins are not free, like the Google Voice one, but most of them are.
Come on. That's great, though.
Yep.
Good deal.
All right. Well, I think that's everything I had for the top of the show.
That's everything I had, too.
Let's do the news.
What's new in the news this week?
All right, Brian. Our first story on the news docket for this week. Actually, before we jump into that, I wanted to give a shout out to J-Ban in the Jupiter Colony forum. If you go over to the Linux Action Show section, and then there's a sub-Android forum in there, he put an extended review of his experience with his Nexus 1.
Nice.
I love the reviews when somebody's had it for a couple of weeks. Not
Yeah,
the like
me too.
1 or 2 hour reviews that you see on Engadget and Gizmodo. I mean,
Yeah,
I
where
love those guys, but
they're real people really living with the device.
so he went in and
Yeah.
he did a big, massive personal review, but like not so big that it's a chore to read. And he categorized it really well, so, down to build quality, performance, all this stuff. It's a super great post.
That's awesome.
You don't have to be a member just to read it. If you go over to jupitercolony.com, go to the Linux Action Show forum and look for the Android subforum, you'll find his experiences with the Nexus 1 in there. All right. Now, our top story on the news docket for this week.
Yes.
Novell rejects inadequate $2 billion takeover bid from hedge fund. Now,
Everybody breathe.
last episode, we pitched a what if this happened story because it was a rumor that it might happen while we were recording the show.
Yep.
Now,
This was 2 weeks ago.
because I titled the episode Goodbye Novell, people kind of missed the part where we said, hypothetically speaking, what if this happens? And just took it as we're saying this is happening. That's fine. Interesting discussion, though people kind of punched us in the nuts a little more than they needed to because we weren't actually saying it was happening. We were saying, what if? Whatever. I got a.
He was a little bit of a sensationalist headline.
It was, but
so.
it's fun. Reverend Ted, he said it was some weak sauce, and I challenged Reverend Ted to come on the show and tell me why, but he never got back to me.
So
now, Mr. T, I challenge you on the air to come on the show.
what's happening, Reverend Ted? I thought you were a friend of the show. I thought you were a friend, man.
Don't make us drunk dial. Don't make us. We will drunk dial.
We've done
We
it
have
before,
done it.
dude.
We have done it. And
we
I've
will
got-
drunk dial Aaron Saigo to ask how Reverend Ted is, why he's being such a dick.
And we should say it is early here for the Jupiter Broadcasting Studios. We're recording this one in the morning. I am jacked up on tons of coffee.
He
right
is, and I'm jacked up on
Life?
I'm just happy.
Yeah.
I'm just happy.
You're jacked up.
I'm
from the
happy
light.
to be awake.
You're
ladies
like
and gentlemen.
Superman, and our
Yeah.
studio lights are your yellow sun.
Blah.
Yeah, blah.
Blah.
All right, so Novell rejects an inadequate hedge fund takeover. This is good. I don't know. Here's the thing.
Now, were they saying it was inadequate purely from the dollar amount
Yes.
side, or inadequate from the dollar amount plus maybe what this hedge fund could bring to the table for the company?
Here's
side?
the thing: is some people question if Novell's even worth $2 billion.
Oh, dude, of course they're worth $2 billion.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Dude, they're worth $1 billion in cash, and then on
Absolutely agree.
top of that, there's the infrastructure, the employees, the intellectual property, just the friggin' buildings.
So check
Of course,
this.
they're worth $2 billion.
So some have questioned whether Novell is currently really worth $2 billion and whether the company should jump at the $5.75 per share offer. Absolutely not. Although I don't know what Novell's current stock offering is. Others say Novell could be worth $1.8 billion. I agree. They say they have at least 1.8 in assets alone. Novell has struggled financially recently, reporting.
Well, worth noting that Novell's gone up since this has occurred to $5.86. So they're actually trading about 11 cents higher.
They are, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting enough. So
Internet, ladies and gentlemen, right here. Did I know this information? No, sir. Found it on the internet.
essentially, over the last 6 consecutive quarterly sale reports, revenues declined 10%, and it's looking at a fall of 17% to 5.7 million in revenue.
Yep.
Here's the thing. There are companies out there like Facebook, like Twitter, like Foursquare, like Gowalla that
They don't
produce,
earn diddly.
and they're valued at like $10 billion.
Yep.
All right. Novell is an actual like manufacturing as far as a physical good company with actual products and an infrastructure and a long established place in the market.
And they make sales.
and they sell
They
stuff.
sell something. Unlike Twitter, which sells you...
Which hasn't even figured out how to make a buck.
They haven't figured that idea out yet.
So if you're out there, analyst, telling me that Twitter is worth more than Novell...
Yeah, someone in the chat room saying Twitter should buy Novell.
Oh, man, what kind of world do we live in?
Man,
That's
things are
awful.
just backwards is what they are.
They really
Everything's are just backwards.
So I generally am gleaning from the corporate speak of this stuff is that essentially Novell's plan is they're saying without saying it that wasn't enough money. They're saying that, but what they're not saying is they probably do have a price. They're not saying what it is.
Yeah.
And then the other thing they are out there saying is we're moving forward.
Of course they've got a price. Everyone's got a price. Microsoft has got a price. IBM's got a price.
Right.
It's just a huge price.
They're moving forward though. They're working on like some social networking tools. They're working on their products. So it's not the end of the road for Novell.
Thank God.
But it's definitely a story we're going to continue to follow.
I gotta say,
I wouldn't be too surprised though in a few months.
I'm a very big fan of Novell right now. So I mean, just the sheer amount of work that they fund,
which
the people
almost
they
means
hire to work on Linux, to work on GNOME, to work on OpenOffice, to work on Banshee and Mono and
But because you
F-Spot
like it,
and
almost means
Tomboy
they're guaranteed to be done.
Kind of does, doesn't it?
It does.
I like the underdogs that die, don't I?
You do.
Yeah.
Which is the bad. Sorry, Novell.
Yeah, that is a bad sign.
Here's a business tip from the Linux Action Show.
I got
Don't
like
make
the
Brian
kiss
like
of
your
death,
company.
don't I?
You do.
Wow.
Man, I was
that's
gonna wear my
hardcore.
hat. I'll wear it for the Boxee segment.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? So back when Apple was dying, I'm like, oh, I kind of like Apple. And I'm like, man, screw Apple. Their shares go through the roof.
Yep.
That's what happens. It's not the iPhone or the iPod for Apple. It's the fact that I didn't like them anymore.
Yep.
That's what makes them a success.
All right, so moving on. This is another story that you should like, which probably also means bad for this company. Migo.
Oh, God.
Migo code will arrive in March.
It's coming.
It will run on Atom CPUs and the Nokia N900,
Now,
which is an ARM chip.
We need to be clear about this. Will arrive coming in March.
For devs.
It is March 28th when we're recording this.
Yep.
It has actually, the repositories, I believe, are due to drop any moment now.
Well, that's good.
From what I'm understanding. But yeah, this is not for
It's
your
all pretty
average
fast.
your average user, your average runner.
Right.
This is definitely.
You're not going to want to run this on your standard production machine.
No, but theoretically, within a couple of weeks, there should be instructions out there, I'm guessing, on how to get this up and running on, say, your N900.
Yep. I mean, if you think about it, we were only talking about this like a month ago.
Yeah.
So
at which point, Chris decreed that it would not be available until later this year. At which point, it would all be dead, and we'd all cry.
I still hold it will never be a viable OS for the N900. I believe it'll always be a toy.
You think it'll always be a toy?
I think so.
You think it'll never like they won't like rev the N900s to ship with Migo or anything like that?
Well, you see,
I think they will.
My fundamental issue with Migo is I believe it is a play for Intel to push the x86 chipset, and there's a zero-sum win in them for the N900 to do well. They don't make a buck off of it, and there's no reason for them to spend their money on making it work well on a chip they don't manufacture, on a chip that actually eats away at the market share.
On that story, is there a renderized picture of the Wonder Twins activating their powers?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a little Wonder Twin powers activate between Nokia and Intel.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome then. That means that Migo is the monkey, I guess? I'm not really sure. But you'll notice that Nokia is the chick, which means that Nokia can turn into water?
Yeah.
Or like a bucket of...
What was the dude?
Bucket of soapy water?
So this is I thought this is an interesting angle to the story, though, because this is kind of a short timeline, right? I mean, we had the announcement of MeeGo
Highly
like a month
compressed.
ago. I was
Yeah.
kind of surprised. So the first thing I thought of was, well, how the heck are they actually going to pull this off? Because I would think it almost would take a month just to get all of the administrative stuff figured out.
Dude, it's Linux.
Nokia and Intel have turned to the Linux Foundation to help coordinate the project with the hope that a vendor-neutral overseer will be able to help bring in participation of other Linux vendors. Brilliant maneuvering.
Hugely great.
They keep doing everything that I keep thinking, God, that's not what I thought they would do, but I'm still skeptical.
I don't know why. Now, see, I have some skepticalities relating to Intel.
Right.
I just do.
Yeah.
But Nokia, dude,
Well, I agree.
Nokia has been stepping correct.
Well, and here's
for a while now. They may not be ruling the world, but from our point of view, they've been doing the right things. They picked up Qt. They started like really advancing it forward. They're really pushing forward the platform. They're working to open source all the Symbian stuff really well. They're doing all the things that we want them to do.
Yeah.
They are like the model open source company.
Yeah,
right
the company
now.
that can leverage that closed side and that open side
in a way that makes sense, that makes everybody happy.
It's not just robbing from the open source community.
They're giving back, and this is great. The fact that they got the Linux Foundation involved is a hugely good business move, because then they don't have to do it.
The other thing I like
saves
a lot
them a bunch of money,
is when
man,
a representative for the MeeGo project is like Ars Technica did an interview. When someone is speaking on behalf of the MeeGo project, it's a rep from Nokia.
Really?
That's a really good sign. It's a rep
Nokia
from Nokia
is the one that's in charge.
Who's supposedly this rep's on the MeeGo steering committee, which involves people from Nokia and Intel, and they say that it will be more open and more inclusive than Mobile or Memo were individually, and that the platform is going to be developed as transparent as possible between Nokia and Intel, so people in the public will be able to see the two interacting. I'm hopeful.
This is great.
It all sounds like everything I want to hear.
Dude, this is great.
Yep.
I love it.
Let's move on to a story that maybe is not so great. Our next story on the news docket, Nvidia drops open source driver for the NV X11 driver and says, users, use the Visa driver just to get you up and going so that you can go download our proprietary driver. Now, let's be honest here. The Nvidia NV driver was always a suck driver anyways. It was just 2D.
A piece of crap driver.
And you literally did use it just long enough to load the 3D driver. I never realized that was NVIDIA's whole plan. I didn't realize they were only maintaining that with the idea that I was only just a stepping stone to get to the 3D driver. Pain in the ass. I cannot believe that's your expectation of a user experience. What kind of ass thought that up? And I just want to say, I'm running Ubuntu 10.04 ATI card, I believe, in this laptop. I never had to install an ATI driver.
I got the Intel chips in my laptop and my desktop that I'm running 10.4 on. Boom.
I got Compass running at the full fancy setting, and then I went over, in Ubuntu you can go to that hardware drivers and see all the proprietary drivers on your system. Because check this out, in this laptop I've got an EVDO built-in modem. I've got Wi-Fi, obviously. I've got a fingerprint reader. I've got an ATI video card. And I got a FireWire controller. None of them required proprietary drivers.
None.
I've got full fancy Compass. I never had to load a driver. Literally out of the box.
Now looking at it from Nvidia's side of things, their open source driver was a bit crap.
Yeah.
It was a bit crap. All the goodies were in their proprietary driver. So in order to get decent performance, you had to install the proprietary one anyway.
And I still do when I'm on an Nvidia box.
And nowadays we've got the Novell driver that's open source and Fedora's already starting to ship with that instead of the open source Nvidia driver, I believe.
Yeah.
So why not stop working on it?
All right, Brian, the next story on the news docket for this week. This is a really interesting story because it's almost an open source conceptual idea, and we just talked about Nokia so much I wanted to throw it in. Nokia has announced a design by committee for their next phone, potentially a concept device. Have you seen this stuff?
I did.
You literally go over to their website.
Interesting.
I'm going to say literally a lot
apparently
this episode. At least I'm
saying... Apparently.
You're
literally going to say literally a lot.
So you go over here, and the bummer part is I think they did the fun thing up front. They did on March 15th.
The display in the UI.
Yeah, right. That's going to be the best.
Yeah, and by this point, a lot of people hadn't heard about this yet.
I know. But I think they wanted to start with a bang, so I totally follow their concept.
Yep.
But so now they're on to size and shape. And once you're in size and shape, you literally have damn it, I'm sorry, everybody. You have a 3-step process here where you can choose the different, so you can bring up these different sliders. So do you like a swiveling keypad or do you want a clamshell? No. Let's do a mono block. That sounds interesting, right? And why wouldn't I want it 50 millimeters, right? And so you go through here and you set the different stuff, some really specific stuff that you can tweak.
Really specific.
Do you want a sliding lens cover? Automatic lens cover? Yeah. Yeah, I want that.
And then you submit it.
And then you submit it, and you can keep going. You can add more stuff. And then, so we go through and submit it. And then on the 29th...
Basically, yeah, every week they have a new category that they want you to vote on.
Now, if they actually pull this off, would you totally not want this phone?
Probably. Well, see, I don't know. I don't know what the phone would be. But this is going to tell them what are the components that people actually want, which is kind of a lot nicer than the way most cell phone companies seem to do it, which is make like 12 phones that are the wide variety,
and none of them
quite what you want.
Or you have,
it is nice.
Or you have the Apple or Nexus One approach, where there's one really big innovating guy who's like, everybody's like, oh my God, it's Johnny Ive. He can't do anything wrong.
Watch.
And he makes a slab of glass, and everybody's like, wow.
This phone comes out and it's gorgeous, but it costs like $12,000.
Well, that's the problem, right? Yeah. This stuff is effing expensive. I don't know. I think the Nexus One is a good balance, and I think
the Nexus One's pretty good balance. I would like a keyboard in the Nexus One, though.
You know,
I really do like keyboards.
I'm done. Just the Droid keyboard. I've used it a total of 3 times. Here's why, though. Android 2.1, badass voice transcription.
Oh, so that is nice.
So when I need to type a lot,
yeah,
and you can use it for a single word, or you can use it for the entire thing. And so I'll do a whole paragraph, or I'll just do a single word. I'll hit that, and then maybe I'll go use the on-screen keyboard to make a small correction. I never slide out the physical keyboard anymore, ever. And the physical keyboards, think about the last batch of phones that have come out. The Droid.
No, that's
they
true.
all suck.
They have had bad keyboards.
They're dogging on the keyboard.
If you're going to have a good thumb keyboard, it has to be a great one. Otherwise, you might as well not have
I'd rather have a slimmer Droid. I know I could have got the Aris, but whatever. All right. So anyways, if you'd like to check this out, you can go over to conversations.nokia.com, and we'll link to it in the show notes as well.
That's kind of cool.
And you can go fill out and make your perfect designed phone.
Fancy.
All right, Brian. Well, that's all the news.
Oh, wait.
You got a story for me?
I just want to call a few things to people's attention here.
Oh,
it is springtime.
You can zoom in on that.
Now people have said...
I don't know how exactly, but there is a... Yeah, there you go.
Scrolling up.
Blah!
Wait a minute, where did I go?
You slowed down a little bit. You were there.
I was there?
Oh.
Hold on.
Man, I threw the camera over to you.
There we go.
Yeah. So check that out, everybody. What you're looking at here is Brian trying to work the suit. I know. See, and I do it all the time over here. I make it look easy.
What? Where'd it go?
Boy, you're going to make everybody sick.
Where the heck did this go?
ShapeWriter.
There we go. Okay, we're just going to leave it right there. All right. So
somebody in the chat room was saying they love ShapeWriter. That was my tip last week. If you haven't checked out ShapeWriter,
so what we got coming up here, head over to distrowatch.com if you want some more information, but it is spring. That means love is in the air and lots of new Linux distro releases. So, of course, we've got the Ubuntu 10.04 release coming out at the end of next month, at the end of April.
I was just talking about that off the air.
On its heels, literally less than 2 weeks later, Fedora 13 drops. So boom, within 2 weeks, the two of the big boys are going to converge on Tokyo and just crush it. They're just going to decimate it. And these little fairy ladies are going to come out of their box and they're going to be like, no! And it's going to freak everyone out.
Fedora 13 pixie dust
and then everyone's going to be like, well, nothing else can happen. Boom, 8 days later, OpenBSD releases.
Changes nothing.
Changes... Oh, we kid a little bit, OpenBSD.
We know you're awesome.
Yeah, you're awesome, but no one listens to you all that much.
You know what? They're awesome like a Tesla.
Yeah, like a Tesla Roadster. That's awesome, but not many people use it.
No.
Yeah. And then only a couple days after that, boom, the beginning of May, Mandriva 2010.1 comes out. And then exactly 1 month later, the next release of OpenSUSE 11.3. Boom, it lands.
I just downloaded the most
guys.
recent development build of OpenSUSE 11.
Oh, yeah?
.3, and I think maybe I did it too soon. I haven't installed it yet, but if they're that far out, I should probably I jumped over Fedora, and I should probably back up and download Fedora. I like to get in there a few months.
Yeah,
early.
you got to get in there. I've got Fedora running in one VM. I haven't been running the latest Fedora in any actual physical hardware yet, though. So I kind of need to give that a shot in the next couple of weeks.
With these big 3 distros, I generally find that by the time they actually ship, they don't feel new to me anymore because I've been running them long enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it lacks the excitement.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But the excitement is to be had now. This is a good time to get
It's
in
a good
and
time.
test.
It's a good time. And now, and like with Ubuntu, with the 10.04 release, now that they've got the actual UI in there and the new look and
Great
feel,
time to bug
it's a
submit.
great time to poke at it and prod.
All right, now, anything else we want to cover?
No, that's all I wanted to say.
All right.
Just wanted to get
Good
that
point.
out there
That
for
was
people
good.
to know.
And we're going to be talking about all of that on the next Action Show.
this stuff happens in the spring. It gets very, very exciting. And then summertime hits, and I guess everyone who uses Linux takes a nap for about 3 months.
Maybe they go outside.
They go outside. They do something.
You got to get your sun at some point, so you go out and get all your vitamin D for the year.
And then in the fall, they're like, "Oh man, it's
Back to
raining. Let's get back to work again."
Now that we're weekly, I mean, we're going to be when these things hit, we're going to be talking about them the week.
We're going to be on them. We're going to be on them.
So you and I, it's a good thing they're kind of spread out for us because we need some time. Because before in the 2 week format, we had 2 weeks at least to play with it.
To try it out. Yeah, I know.
So now it's going to be a little compressed,
Condensed.
But it also just means that every show during that time is going to have new content about a new.
Dude,
cool
we
distro.
are for like 3 shows in a row. We're going to have major distro reviews.
gonna be awesome.
It's going to be nuts.
All right, Brian.
We gotta really savor this downtime, man. This is the relaxed episode.
Yep.
This is the episode to just take a second. Breathe, man.
Yeah, but I'm gonna freak out all over my mic on the next segment.
Dude, just breathe, dude.
Zone.
Just get in the zone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
All right, everybody.
Because they're gonna need to buckle up for the next segment.
Yeah. Zone.
Okay. Well, that's all the news for this week.
I would like to talk about Boxee.
All right.
I just want to straight up talk about Boxee.
And I have to apologize first. I realized this.
Okay.
I put out a video last week and said this week on Link's Action Show we're going to be talking about VMware versus VirtualBox.
Yeah.
And that is coming.
All right, and that's great. The thing is, we really want to talk about Boxee.
We really do. And I had somebody said, Chris, you know what you really ought to do? VMware versus VirtualBox versus one of the open source virtualizers.
You mean like VirtualBox?
Well, no, like KMS or Zen or something like that.
Okay.
So I'm going to do
Box.
that. Or VirtualBox.
Or botches.
Or QMU.
QMU, yeah.
All right. So I'll be doing that next week. I apologize, everybody, but we've got a lot to say on that topic too. But this week, we both kind of just have fallen in love with Boxee. To an
Not
extent.
love. Not love. Not love. This is lust. This is lust. This is... I don't want to take it home and meet my family.
Right.
But like I want it to move in with me for a while. Like
Yeah.
I think it would be a lot
there
of
with
fun to live with Boxee for at least like 6 months.
Yep.
I don't know long term though. Like I don't want to have a kid with Boxee.
So if you don't know about Boxee, Boxee is based on the open source Xbox Media Center or the XBMC project that started originally on the original Xbox and was ported to Linux and Windows and Mac OS X. Boxee's based on that, and then it goes way further.
Way further.
First of all, we should say it is gorgeous. The UI in Boxee is
off the charts.
It's beautiful. And it does this beautiful, elegant layover of your home media. So if you have like a USB disk attached to a computer that's running Boxee, or maybe you have a network share with a lot of media content on it like we do, Boxee will go out and index that. And then Boxee has the ability to say, all right, you have 30 Rock Season 3, episodes 1 through 5, but you're missing 6 and 7. Or maybe you're missing episode 4.
Right.
Boxee will just fill in the episode list, and if you're missing an episode, it'll fill that gap with the Hulu version. Or the NBC.com version.
Yeah.
Whatever's available online.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
It's great because if you just want to sit down and not worry about, do I have that episode recorded or downloaded, whatever, it's right there. You know,
it's right there.
They also feature apps, so you can do, now I don't think this works on the Linux version, you can do like Netflix streaming built in.
Yeah, and Netflix streaming doesn't work on the Linux side of things, but so many of the apps do work on the Linux side.
And the other thing it has is a system-wide queue.
Yep.
So and this also extends into your browser. They'll give you a browser bookmarklet. So if you're on a YouTube video and you're like, oh, I want to watch this later, you can click the Boxee bookmarklet in your browser, and it will add it to your queue on your Boxee box connect or Boxee install, because the Boxee box is a separate device. I shouldn't call it that. The Boxee box is going to be their hardware device by D-Link. That looks rad. But anyway,
it does look so rad.
So you have this queue system. So you can add Netflix movies to queues, you can add YouTube, you can add TV shows, you can add Hulu, and then you can sit down and just watch through your queue.
Phenomenal.
Which is really cool. Any format, any codec that your system has support for, Boxee's going to be able to play. If it's MKVs, if it's OGG, Theora, if it's whatever it is, Boxee's going to play it, no problem.
No problem. And it looks so freaking good.
Tie-ins with Pandora, tie-ins with It recognizes individual episodes and gets you a per episode description. It's very cool. It's very slick. Also, same with movies. You can highlight a movie and get a plot point. It keeps track of what you've watched. You can filter just on your unwatched stuff.
Now, this is, to be clear, for those of you who haven't figured this out already, this is not going to plug into your cable card. You're not going to stick this into your satellite. This is purely for your local media or online media. That's it. That's all it's for.
If you could watch a lot of your stuff online,
but that's how I get all of my TV.
Yeah, same.
That's how I get TV.
And you combine the Netflix
exactly
with this, and it's awesome. And I'm hoping with Moonlight they'll be able to bring it soon to the Linux version.
I really hope so. I've been running Boxee on Ubuntu 10.04 for about the last week, and it's rad beyond words.
Right?
So now I'm a very big fan of like Movida. Movida is a very nice,
very nice,
cool little media player.
That's from the Fluendo folks, right?
From the Fluendo folks. And actually the Fluendo folks, this is kind of interesting. They have actually released like a pro version of it.
Right.
Do you happen to have that handy by any chance?
I can look it up. Do you remember what it was called?
I can't remember what it was called, but if you just go to fluendo.com, I'm sure it's listed there.
Yeah.
But basically what they did is they took Movida, which is a nice open source media package that looks very nice. It's built on basically Python and Clutter with a lot of cool visual effects. And they released a quote-unquote pro version.
Yeah, and they just call it the Fluendo Media Center.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So basically, they took Movida, they added in all those great codecs that Fluendo makes.
So it ships with the codec.
So it ships with
you're
all of
talking, You're talking Dolby Digital surround sound decoding.
Yep. Full HD Windows Media and DVD playback and all the other things that you really need to.
I'm showing in the video version right now. It's a different kind of look than Boxee. It's much more slim.
It's more sleek. It's more simplistic and sleek, I feel. But
it runs on Linux.
It runs on Linux. Yeah.
Legal DVD playback, legal decoding of all the different codecs on Linux. Includes.
Yep.
But see, I think Boxee has them beat because
I think it does too.
Boxee supports OpenGL acceleration and DirectX acceleration.
Yep.
And for decoding of video. Any format, Boxee can already do it as long as your system has the codecs. You can still buy the Fluendo codecs, which is a great codec pack, just in terms
use
of quality,
them,
and use it in Boxee.
There's no reason you can't.
So I don't know. For me, and the other option, which I'm not doing, I'm waiting for the actual Boxee box, like I'd mentioned. But there is a image that you could load onto an Apple TV. So if you have an Apple TV that's just like the limited Apple OS, you could load Boxee on it, and then you've got this tiny little hardware device running Boxee.
It's awesome. It's stellarly awesome. I have a hard time. Like, I've made fun of the Boxee box a fair bit. I actually still don't really get into the Boxee box just because I'm not a huge fan of D-Link. I'm not like against D-Link.
But your major problem was with their UI.
It's not just the UI. It's the hardware has always been so underpowered.
I know, but the hardware's had so much time now.
It's had a lot of time, but I've had a lot of the old D-Link media lounges and the like, and they have a really hard time playing at anything at a decent resolution. And I'm not saying HD quality here. I'm talking like old school TV quality. And I've had a real hard time with old D-Links, but the Boxee,
it looks nice
as a system, is amazing. And if the box is powerful enough, that's pretty rad. But even if it's not, if this box comes out and it's not beefy enough, it's just not going to cut it.
It doesn't matter because the software,
it doesn't matter. The software is so great. I can go out, I can buy anything from a little Mac Mini to one of the cool little tiny boxes from System 76, or just an old PC I've got sitting around at home.
Totally.
Hook it up to my computer and rock. And they've got remote control versions for they've got an Android remote control, an iPhone remote control. So you don't need to have a fancy remote from somewhere else.
No,
you
as
can
long
just
as
use the phone you've got.
As long as the device has a Wi-Fi connection. I've been using the one for the Android, and I'm showing the iPhone version, but it looks exactly the same. And
so awesome.
It's so simple, and you just get real basic navigation, which is all you need. You just have basic arrow navigation. And then if you get to a spot where you need to fill in something on screen, type something, maybe you want to search for a movie on Netflix or something, it'll pop up a little Android or iPhone keyboard like you would expect on an app, and you can type right in there. You combine.
It's rad.
Now you have to run Boxee on a Mac or Windows to get this next feature because it's not a Boxee thing. But if you combine that with Logitech's free Touch Mouse app, you get full wireless mouse and keyboard from your portable touch device, and you can control the. I didn't need that for this. I just used the Boxee app, the free Boxee app, which gave me full control. And the wife has an iPhone. I've got my Droid, and I've got my old iPhone. So now we've got an old iPhone it's an older one.
Yeah.
Just in the living room. That's our universal remote. We picked that up, the Boxee box. I put everything on the second page.
It's a good use of an iPhone.
The one page is the Boxee app.
Yeah.
You hit that button. It launches, it connects, it auto discovers using Bonjour, zeroconf. It auto discovers all of the Boxee devices, which I've got two. I've got two. It detects them both. I can pick which one I want to control. Bob's your uncle. I've got a little remote control now.
It is one of the coolest little systems.
Now the Boxee box is going to ship with a very slick looking remote itself.
Right, that has a full. It's kind of funny. Basically, there's a keyboard on the bottom. You just flip it over and there's a keyboard, which makes me wonder when I set this thing down.
If they had a little accelerometer in there, so they could.
I guess they could detect when it's upside down, but still, it seems a little strange to have the keyboard on the bottom.
I thought I'm not going to want to operate my TV from my phone, but you know what? I've already got my phone in my pocket
it's working
all the time. It works great.
Yeah.
And then you can go fancy. You don't have to use Boxee's app.
Yeah.
You can use, because it's just Xbox Media Center, there is an ton of apps out there. Some of them have like album art for like different TV shows. So you can actually browse your whole library on your device, select it, and then it'll go execute that command to Boxee, and Boxee will play it. So you can have people hanging on your couch and be like, yeah, here's my droid. Pick the show you want off the droid, and it'll start playing on the big screen.
It's awesome.
It's crazy, right?
It's awesome.
So if you've been thinking about building an HD or just an SD media center and you don't know what software to use, highly recommend you look at Boxee.
Again, runs great on modern Ubuntu.
Runs
Ubuntu 9.10 is what I was running it on, and I ran it on 10.04 also. Runs great. I have no complaints about this thing. None at all. They even have a specific 64-bit Linux version that you can grab right from the website. Kabloomy, shlablammy, jink, bump. Oh, I just clicked a button, and here I go. You gotta, you
have to register.
No, you don't have to register.
You don't?
No, you don't.
Because you can.
You can register, and you get more information. Oh, look, I'm downloading a Debian file, but it's on Chris's little Windows box here, so it's not going to install. So awesome.
That's a whole other aspect. You notice we didn't even really get into with Boxee is the social. I've got about 15, 20 friends on Boxee, and
do you really?
Yeah, just people have found me on there because I mentioned it in that. I did like forever, like a year ago. I did a YouTube video, and that's based on the old Boxee. That's one of the reasons why we're talking about this now is because that
was a long time ago.
Yeah, they have a new video. They have a whole new UI out, so I thought it was time to talk about it again because it's really awesome. And back when I did that video, enough people friended me, so now we can recommend each other shows. So I was watching City on the Edge of Forever, the old classic Star Trek, the original series. And I said, you know what? This is a dang good episode. Marked it favorite. And I came back to Boxee a couple days later, and one of my followers had also watched it and left me a comment saying, yeah, thanks for the recommendation. That was a really great episode.
Dude, that's
awesome,
cool.
Right?
That's way cool.
And like we could leave each other like little notes, like when 24 got canceled, we could be like, Brian, this is the last episode of 24. Lols, I'm so sad.
Dude, I am really sad about that.
Not that but see, I don't do any of that. I really don't. But it's there.
But you could.
It's there.
It is nice. I haven't tried any of the social stuff because honestly, you're the only dude I know who's actually using Boxee. Besides me,
where the social stuff would work really well is like with my wife and her immediate family. Like if they just had a small social group and they could recommend each other shows, maybe as a social group of like 5 people. It doesn't need to be like a 2,000 people group.
No,
it can be like just a few friends and family, and I don't know.
It's awesome.
The fact that they have an open apps platform where you can build apps for Boxee, so that's
so nice.
That's what Netflix is. It's an app. It's an app for Boxee. The fact that it's built on open source software.
And
is awesome.
thing I want to point out about the Netflix integration within Boxee. So I mean, it's not working on the Linux side of things right now, but I tried it out on the Windows side of things. The Netflix side of it functions much better than it does on like the PS3 right now. Now the Xbox is pretty decent. The Xbox 360 Netflix thing works pretty well. This one almost works better.
What I liked about it,
very good.
What I liked about it versus like the Xbox 360 or even the TiVo is I think it's the TiVo. You can't add new stuff. You have to go add it from your computer.
Yeah, you have to add it from your computer.
You know, if I'm sitting there, like we were at a brewery and one of the guys like, you got to check out Beer Wars. It's on Netflix. Watch now. And I'm like. So I sat down on my TV and I'm like, oh yeah, Beer Wars.
Want to watch it?
I got to check that out. And then I was like, oh.
You can't. You got to get up. You got to go to your computer. You got to add it. Now the Xbox 360, you can add it directly and that sort of thing.
Yes.
But
not on
again,
TiVo
you can't. And you know, this is nice. They did a really nice job with it. The integration is slick
and the UI
looks like
is
it's
clean.
part of it. Yeah.
It's a really nice, clean design. You get basic play controls.
Yep.
You get the basic information about the show because it goes out and gets all of the metadata for every single episode. So it gives you the name while it's playing. It tells you what season, what episode title. It's really awesome.
It's awesome.
I loves it.
They did a really nice job. They deserve a kudos.
And with the Netflix thing aside, it is fantastic under Linux.
Now, I mean, again, though, it's not going to integrate with your live TV at all. So if you're going live TV and you're on the Linux side of things, obviously Myth TV is still the king. It's still the way to go.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing live TV, honestly, the non-live aspect, the internet-connected aspect, or the local media, this beats the pants off of what Myth TV can offer, both in terms of look and feel and quality and features and playback
and
ability.
And just commercial support. Like
it's great.
There's an official Flickr application that does this really simple but elegant slideshow.
It's nice.
And if you're having a little house party, you already have Boxee running. You fire up Pandora, it plays your music selection for you.
Yep.
Or you can play local music files. Then throw up a Flickr slideshow, and now on your TV in your living room, you've got music going that's good because it's a Flickr, it's a Pandora channel, and a slideshow, whatever you want to show. Does YouTube, which is great for guys like us. You can go on there and watch the latest episodes. It lets you subscribe to RSS feeds, and they'll just show up in your queue when new episodes are ready. You got to check it out. It's free.
Worth checking out. Boxee, BOXEE.TV.
And I'm Chris LAS, so if you want to, do you know what your user ID is?
I don't remember.
Probably something awesome.
I probably something awesome, but who knows what I typed in when I.
But I am Chris LAS, and I'm using it. So I have officially put it in my living room. It is
nice.
It is buggier under Windows. I find
really
because I think maybe they just recently implemented. They switched on Windows from OpenGL decoding to DirectX Compute.
Oh, so
they're using DirectX accelerated.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
There's some bugs, and it's in beta right now.
There always are.
And I've had it crash on me a couple times.
Have you?
Running it under Linux, I don't think I've had it crash once.
I haven't had it crash at all. I haven't had it get slow at all. It's been fast. It's been seamless. It's been great.
And we should say, it is indexing a F ton of media for us, and it is not having a problem.
Yeah, I have a lot of digital media on my home servers.
Let's just say, I don't know. The number of terabytes would be in 2 digits. So
it'd
be a lot.
It's more than my hands.
Yeah,
let's go with that.
So it's indexing that stuff like a champ.
Fast.
Yeah.
Really friggin' fast.
And
so
you
it's
can continue to use it while it's indexing.
You know, I feel like this is a bit of a love fest.
It is.
I don't have anything really that bad to say.
Well, I'm saying it does crash a little bit under Windows.
I crashed a little bit under Windows, but come on, who cares about that? And you don't have the full Netflix Watch Now support under Linux.
I think Moonlight will fix that. I'm hoping.
I'm hoping.
It's a Silverlight. It's a Silverlight based.
Yep. So that's really the only negative I can say about it. That's the only thing keeping me from having a Linux-based Boxee box running on my TV is the Netflix Watch Now support. Once we get that, or if Netflix Watch Now is working fully on the Boxee box when it ships, I'm probably going to just jump right into that.
What I would really like to see is about 3 months ago, ATI has this cable card tuner. And I use cable cards in my TiVo.
Yeah.
And they opened it up so you don't have to. You can hook it up to any computer. You used to have a machine that had like this chip in it that was meant to run cable cards.
Right.
Now it's opened up. I would love to see ATI release a Boxee app.
Ooh.
So I can get that tuner for like $150.
Plug it into the
live HD TV.
Ooh, that would
and then
be
launch
cool.
the ATI Boxee app. Or
so then you have a little.
Or
a little
maybe
viewer.
somebody else can do it. I don't know.
But that's pretty cool. That would be pretty slick.
So anyways,
agreed. I agree.
I really think you guys should check it out if you haven't yet. And that'll be the conclusion. Then next week
we'll talk about virtualization and VMware and all that good stuff.
All right, Brian. Well, that's our look at the Boxee.
And that brings us to the end of this week's fantasticulous broadcast. I want to thank everybody for coming out. That was great that you did that. I liked it when you watched the show.
Yeah. When you comment.
I liked it when you listened to the show.
Oh, and there's multiple ways for them to comment.
I've heard that some people are using kabuki theater to reenact segments of the show. I'm going to say this unequivocally. I'm okay with that.
Pictures or it didn't happen, though. That's all I'm saying.
I want video.
Picture or it didn't happen.
I want video.
All right, so if you want to get a hold of the big show, there's a couple of different ways you can do that. You can head over to jupitercolony.com.
That's a forum.
Discussions happen there.
It's fantastic.
That's also where you'd find that Nexus 1 review in the subforum over at Jupiter Colony of the Linux Action Show.
On the internet.
Then also there's the Facebook. If you want to know when we're doing the live streams or new shows are out, it's like your feed of Jupiter Broadcasting News at facebook.com/Jupiter Broadcasting.
And there's Twitter accounts. He's Chris LAS. I'm Brian Lunduke. Mm-hmm. That's great because it's on Twitter.
We should say, too, we want to say thank you to everyone that helps support the show. If you go over to store.jupiterbroadcasting.com, you'll find some of our most favorited items of all time. Things like microphones that we use to make this show, little cameras. swag. You can find swag over the Jupiter Broadcasting Store, and of course, geeky things like video games, comic books, and whatnot. So check it out, store.jupiterbroadcasting.com if you haven't been there. It's a great way to support the show and get yourself a little something as well, because that's an Amazon affiliate deal.
Undeniably cool.
All right, well, is there anything else we want to cover before we wrap up this episode?
There is absolutely nothing else that I want to cover. I am completely done.
You're covered out.
I'm done.
All right, everyone, until the next episode, next week at jupiterbroadcasting.com.
That's right.
We'll see you then.
Okay.